Welcome, everybody, to the HeelCast. Tonight, I am joined by my partner in crime, Lark Nasty, Michael Larkin. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Hurls. About to talk about the week in wrestling, some Impact, and a whole lot of...
whole lot of craziness is
Yep.
What we're going to get into tonight. But we got to give our plugs before we get into anything. I want to plug Total Nonstop Impact Podcast. They're recording right now as we speak, as well as the HeelCast. So we got a little competition going on with Total Nonstop Impact. So, shout outs to Kyle, who used to be on the HeelCast. I also want to plug the Bodega, which is Jorge and yourself, right, Larkin?
Yes, sir.
Shout out to the Bodega Podcast. You can find that on all major podcast listening places and YouTube. Give a shout out to the Impact Lounge. BQ doing his thing, doing a lot of short videos, but he's still doing his thing. Andre Corbeil, I want to give a shout out to him. Always making content. Also want to give a shout out to Max Wrestling Podcast. Larkin, why don't you talk about that?
Guys, if you want to check out my boys, Daz and the Butcher, my fellow UK brethren, I'm the American side of that podcast. That is at Max, MAX Wrestling UK, all one word on the Twitter machine. And you can check us out on YouTube, Max Wrestling Podcast. Right now, we're doing a fun little promo challenge. I am the current reigning and defending promo champion, and my opponent is none other than Travis the Walker Anderson. And if you want to vote for yours truly, you can go over to maxwrestling.net/vote. It's a fun promo challenge. We're having a lot of fun with that. We usually talk all things in the world of wrestling, do these fun challenges, maybe a little trivia on there. It's a fun podcast, so give them a follow at Max Wrestling UK on the Twitter machine and subscribe on YouTube to Max Wrestling Podcast. And if you want to follow me, it's the norm, StephenMikeShow.com, and LFC, Lingerie Fighting Championship, Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, on all your favorite podcasting platforms such as Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Anchor, Pocket Cast, wherever that is, Spotify, the whole nine. You'll find me. Just type in Mike Larkin.
Also, I want to give a shout out to the Retro Review Crew. It's my podcast with my buddy Travis. We play a video game, we beat the video game, and we talk about it and what we like about it. We give scores at the end of it. We recently just did Quest 64. It was our highest viewed video, I should say. So it was pretty cool getting some feedback on that. But yeah, right now we're in the middle of playing 2 games right now that we're hoping to have a podcast for. We're doing Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest for the Super Nintendo. We're playing that right now. And we're also playing the original Resident Evil Director's Cut. Very, very fun stuff, bringing back in the day. So check that out. It's only on YouTube right now. Hopefully in the future we'll expand onto other platforms, but it is the Retro Review Crew page. Type that in on YouTube, and you can listen to all the podcasts we have there. So, all right, anyways, got the plugs out of the way. What a crazy week in wrestling. I think it's always crazy, but this week was exceptionally crazy, you know? So, first thing first, Larkin, you got what Jim Cornette said.
Yes.
I want to start here. We're going to do a little NWA news. Jim Cornette, Corny, as some people call him, he said a controversial statement on NWA Power as he was announcing. Why don't you read off what Jim Cornette said on NWA Power?
So I believe this was the match between Nick Aldis, the former Magnus, and one Trevor Murdoch. It has, we'll touch upon also how he said this before, but what Jim Cornette said on the broadcast is, he's the only man I've ever known that can strap a bucket of fried chicken on his back and ride a motor scooter across Ethiopia. And that's what caused Jim Cornette to get fired and resign from NWA. That he's,
He actually, did he get fired, or did he just resign and be like, because, I mean, if you censor him, he doesn't like that.
Yeah, I think
So,
he just resigned, and you know what it is, too? And he's used this before, the quote about, he's the only man I've ever known that could strap a bucket of fried chicken on his back and ride a motor scooter across Ethiopia. Because somebody pointed out on Twitter, there's a 1995 match featuring Bob Backlund that I believe was on Raw or Superstars, one of them back in the day in the WWF. He said the same exact quote about 24 years ago, Earls.
Wow. And you know what? Like, I don't even know where to go with this, because I kind of get what he's saying, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't think he should lose his job over it, but I don't know if I don't know. I'm not really a big Jim Cornette fan myself, so it's kind of like meh, because he shoots himself in the foot a lot of times. Okay, so and this is one of them. But you know what really stinks though about Jim Cornette not being on NWA? He seemed generally, if you watch him, he seemed very excited to be an announcer for NWA. Like, it seemed like something he really wanted to be a part of. So I feel like, it's kind of unfortunate, because I think he's a wrestling historian. He's has so much knowledge of the business. I think it's a shame that he's not going to be calling anymore. I think whoever steps up is going to have to really step up their game.
Yeah, I mean, with someone who has the mind that Jim Cornette has, I mean, I've listened to some of his stuff on NWA commentary. He's funny, it brings an old school wrestling flavor to it. I mean, like you, I know you said you're kind of about Jim Cornette, you're kind of meh, but I always appreciated it. I mean, him and Jim Ross on WWF back in the day, I think wherever he was, whether it be Ring of Honor, I know TNA at the time when it was there, and I mean, but he's just one of those guys, like, and he's a Hall of Famer in his own right, but he's just one of those guys that when you think of wrestling, when you think of the voice of wrestling, you think of him on commentary, you think of him with the tennis racket with the Midnights and the Rock and Rolls, and people like Yokozuna in the WWF, Vader, the tennis racket. So his name is synonymous with wrestling from a managerial standpoint, from a commentary standpoint. So I think wherever he goes next, who knows? But yeah, just that was something. Just listening to that on NWA Power.
Yeah, I think speaking of Jim Cornette, I mean, he booked one of my favorite TNA segments of all time. It was the Riot in 2009, where like Impact, just all hell broke loose. Like, these guys were just fighting all over the Impact Zone. It went on for like a good 20 minutes. It was great. I suggest everybody look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. But it had practically the whole roster just in this giant riot. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen on Impact. So
I remember that. Was this also around sorry, Hurls, but was this all around the time when he was complaining about, the finish of Sting and Hernandez was gonna beat Sting or whatever it was? Was that around that same time?
It's very possible. I remember it was about 2009, I want to say.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a really good episode of Impact, and it was one of my favorite book segments that I know that he did, because I remember after it was getting rave reviews, and people were saying that Jim Cornette booked it. I'm not a huge, I don't think everything he booked is great, but I think he did that just perfectly. So definitely got to hand it to him there.
Of course.
So,
all right, we'll talk about Jordan Miles, the AKA Ace Super Bitch. We'll talk about him next. So go ahead, Earls. You segued with the.
Yeah, and speaking with the whimsical world of professional wrestling, we got Jordan Miles, AKA, don't want to call him his slave name, ACH, just going crazy on WWE, which pretty much all started over a T-shirt.
Yes.
Okay. ACH, really good talent, high-flying cruiserweight wrestler. We've seen him on Impact quite a few times. He was in the X Cup, the last one they did.
Yep.
He was impressive. I thought Impact should have offered him a position, but it didn't happen at the time. But so basically the story, maybe you can correct me, him and WWE made a T-shirt,
yep,
apparently that he approved.
Yep.
The T-shirt was, as he says, white, not black. The T-shirt, it looks like a former, like a character from like the 30s or 40s.
Blackface, one of those. Race,
Yeah. Okay. So like a character from the 30s or 40s, blackface, racially insensitive, and once they basically put it out there, that was it. That was it. He just kind of like, I'm done. I'm not working for WWE. And then, he didn't say that at first. He just kind of said, "Is this what you think of me?" And then maybe like a couple weeks later, he does a video, records himself, goes live, goes viral, records a video, and just basically loses his temper and just says, "I quit WWE," and he grunts, gets very angry, drops a bunch of expletives, and there you go. He's back to Super ACH, and no more Jordan Miles. Never to be heard from again.
I don't mean to laugh, but it kind of reminds me of Malibu's Most Wanted. Bradley, that's my slave name, all right, B-Rad. That's what reminds me of Jamie Kennedy and Malibu's Most Wanted.
Man. Wow, I've not seen that movie. I remember the show, but yeah.
That's what it reminds me. But no, here's the thing, dude. If you actually look at it, it just looks like a smile. When I first saw the shirt and it was a black shirt, I'm like, okay, it looks like, his name. Like, okay, white letters, Jordan Miles, like a smile, because that's his gimmick, girls. He smiles a lot. He's on NXT, you just see him smiling. And I'm like, okay, he took that, for the culture and the whole nine, which, all right. But here's the thing. He tagged people like Jay Lethal and Booker T in his tweets, and Jay Lethal's like, dude, my arm is injured. Don't tag me into this. This has nothing to do with me. And Booker T pretty much called him an idiot. And also, we'll look at it like this. On NXT, you're pushing guys like Isaiah Swerve Scott, the Velveteen Dream. R-Truth is featured prominently, maybe a comedy role, but it's Ron Killings, he's doing the 24/7 thing. So you see a lot of African-American talents there. Dio Madden, who's on commentary on there for Raw, former football player trained by Booker T. So it's not like, that they're racist. You know what I'm saying? I mean, possibly in the past, and claims and stuff, but it's just like, come on, man. I thought he was ridiculous, but hey, if he wants out, he wants out. I could see him going. I know he's just got an indie date because he's, like, officially done with that, which rightfully so. So wherever ACH goes, I'm a fan. I liked him in Ring of Honor. I liked him on Impact. I liked him wherever he went. Where do you think he's going to go next? AEW, NWA? What do you think?
I don't think he'll be going to Ring of Honor. I think he kind of burned that bridge.
Yeah.
Jay Lethal. I thought I saw somewhere where he wanted to go to New Japan or something.
Well, he's been there, yeah.
Yeah, I think he said something about New Japan. I heard ACH is not interested, AEW is not interested in him. So that kind of really only leaves NWA,
New Japan,
MLW, Impact Wrestling, or New Japan. So, I mean, I definitely think New Japan would definitely take him. I could see that. I think Impact would take him. I think, I don't know if he would fit NWA. NWA is not really going for that style. They're going more for the heavyweight division.
Yeah, traditional style, like 80s type of deal.
Yeah, I could possibly see him in MLW too. So I think there's a few places he could go. But I've heard, or the rumor is AEW isn't interested in him, so.
Well, you know what it is? I look at him like, I think he kind of overblew it, is what I'm saying. Because like I said, if you get the first glance of it, it doesn't look racist. It just looks like, he's the character that smiles a lot on NXT. And dude, he hardly did anything on NXT. He won the top prospect tournament, fought Adam Cole for the NXT title, and that was it. That's all we saw of ACH.
I think it's kind of crazy. It's all over a T-shirt. I mean, if that T-shirt was blue or green or red, would it have mattered?
And most of the T-shirts most wrestling T-shirts are black Hurls.
Yeah, they are. Yes,
like Jesus.
About 85% of them.
Hello, Mr. Jordan Miles. Like Jesus. Yep. But no, it's just, that's my slave name, right? No, but anyway, I'm sorry, I just cannot believe he said, that's my slave name. Just don't call me slave name.
If anyone would have claimed racism and not winning titles, it would have been Booker T, right?
Yeah, well.
I mean, WrestleMania 19
hello.
Was way more over than
Triple H was.
ACH was. Yeah, way more over than Triple H and way more over than, ACH is. if anyone has a gripe about not winning a title, it's Booker T.
Well, yeah,
so
but he stated like he just did his job, like, you know, at WrestleMania 19. He didn't mind it. He said, you know, a lot of people felt that I should have won the title, but he just did his job and he put on the best match he could. Because I'll be honest with you, Booker T's always been a team player. I know you with the statement. I know a lot of Impact fans didn't like what he said about the company when he was there, which I could understand. But yeah, but no, Booker T is Booker T. So I mean, when he's telling them to sit down, shut up. Look what I've had to go through. Like, look at that whole WrestleMania 19 build. He's a criminal. I was in jail, the whole nine. So I mean, yeah, if he's anyone to talk, I mean Booker T, but you don't see Booker T saying, you know, that's my slave name.
Well, right, and I mean, no, I can't hate on Booker T. He was one of my favorite wrestlers in W. I liked him in WWE. I mean, even in TNA, he was entertaining. I mean, I know what he said about the company. He went on the rides and all that stuff. It was like a vacation, but whatever. I'm still a fan of Booker T. It's not. I get probably wasn't the greatest signing for TNA, but I don't know. I thought he had a decent run.
Oh, God, I was there for his last pay-per-view match for WWE when he was King Booker against the returning Triple H at SummerSlam 2007. I'm going to say that.
Oh, I do remember that, yeah.
First and foremost, that match sucked. That match was terrible. I would rather watch the WrestleMania 19 match over again because that was at least better than what we got because you could tell Booker T was just ready to go. Triple H had just come back from his second quad tear, so it's just like, ugh.
Wasn't that the match that kind of made him leave WWE? He got really upset about that outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then a couple months later, there he is at Genesis, so boom.
Yes, as Sting's partner.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, buddy.
Yep, I do remember that. Okay, so that's enough for the ACH. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands.
Wait, hold on. Before we move on, Hurls, one more time.
Yeah. Get angry. You won't like me when I'm angry.
He's the little Incredible Hulk, AC.
Right. Oh, good stuff. Okay, so before we get into this next news story, we have a message from a former HeelCast member. His name is Chef. Mm-hmm. He wanted us to drop a message. He wanted us to say, fuck Ring of Honor.
I'll say this the correct way. Hey, yo, baby, all I'm saying is fuck Ring of Honor. They a bunch of punk bitch motherfuckers. Fuck that company for what they did to my girl. There you go.
So, Kelly Klein got fired by Ring of Honor today. So I guess, okay, let's go back to the root of this, if we can, from everything we know. Joey Mercury basically blasted the company on Twitter, basically said how piss poor of a promotion they are, how they treat their wrestlers, how they don't have any medical people backstage. I think they even said Alex Shelley was like giving medical.
Yep.
He was like treating the wrestlers because I don't know. He just graduated, right?
Yeah, from being an EMT. Yeah.
Yep. So Joey Mercury basically went off on Ring of Honor, and then Kelly Klein kind of chimed in. Correct? I mean, isn't that kind of where this started?
Yeah, and I mean, she was kind of like didn't want to say anything because she was hoping like it would get better and they would just realize their mistakes, but no. Not after what we heard today.
Yeah, she was personally fired by Joe Koff today.
Yes, COO Joe Koff. Do you want me to read BJ Whitmer's tweet?
Yeah. Why don't you do that? I'll pull up Kelly Klein's stuff right now, too.
Okay. So BJ Whitmer, the husband of Kelly Klein, tweeted today, now that the cat is out of the bag, yes, my wife, Kelly Klein, was fired by Ring of Honor COO Joe Koff via email Tuesday evening. Not a phone call, an email. Kelly is still very much suffering from post-concussion syndrome and was fired while still injured.
That's not good.
Not good. So, you know what it is too, man? And when it came to Kelly Klein and Ring of Honor, I could tell like from her tweets before she did come out saying now that she's going to air what happened because she's been getting a lot of support, but you could tell like she still wanted to be there. She loved Ring of Honor. I mean, she was the prominent, and she's still the Women of Honor champion, which I'm sure is going to be vacated now. I mean, you look at the history of that title, it went from Sumi Sakai to Kelly Klein, then to Mayu Iwatani, then back to Kelly Klein, then Angelina Love for a few weeks, and now back to Kelly Klein. So, I mean, it's been, cemented in her being the main focal point of the Women of Honor division. But after all this, I don't know where she got the concussion. It might have been in one of the matches. It might have been the Angelina Love match. It might have been the Tasha Steelz match prior to that. But she got a concussion. She still wrestled with that. And just no medical protocol. And she said, hey, I'm done. And now this leads to the question, where's Kelly Klein going to go? Because we saw on Twitter Thunder Rosa, who just made her MMA debut for Combates Americas, it was also on NWA TV in a stable with Melina and Marty Bell. Thunder Rosa said, come on down to NWA so I can whip that ass. I mean, that's a great match, Kelly Klein and Thunder Rosa. We could see her in, as far as Impact goes, you could put her in there with Madison Rayne. You could put her in there with Sue Young. You could put her in there with Jessica Havoc. You could put her in a lot of girls there. As far as NXT, the top one that really comes to mind is Shayna Baszler. You could put her in the mix with a lot of those great girls out of there, have her influx of NXT UK talent in there. And as far as MLW, they got Zeta Zhang right now for their women's division. They're starting up there. But it's really interesting. And of course, AEW, which has Riho, which has a lot of the Japanese girls, which has people like Awesome Kong, which has Allie. I mean, so it's going to be interesting to see where she goes. Where do you think she'll go, Hurls?
Okay, so her husband works in AEW. That's kind of like...
Yeah, that's like kind of like a given.
And AEW needs women wrestlers like...
bad?
Really bad, yeah. Like, I was just going to say a thirsty guy in the desert,
Oh, jeez, yeah.
But, yeah. Or a horny man at the strip club, if you will.
Hell yes.
Anyways. But no, seriously though. I mean, I think AEW is probably going to offer her probably a big deal. I mean, I would, if I'm AEW, I'm going after her hard. Impact's got a pretty solid knockouts division right now. I would love to see her there. I really don't know a ton about her. I know that she's a pretty tall woman, isn't she? Like, she's not like a smaller wrestler.
Nah, she's
one of like
pretty tall. I think she's like 5'7", 8, 9, 10ish around there.
Yeah, I mean that's decent. I mean that's pretty big or pretty tall for a woman. So, I think that the interesting thing about BJ Whitmer though, he said everything that Joey Mercury went off on the company is 100% true. Mm-hmm. So that's he gave vindication there.
It's going to be interesting coming to see what goes down, Hurls. It really is. I mean, just that whole situation. I mean, here's a girl who was trained by the likes of Les Thatcher and has been working since 2009, 2010 for a little while now. And I mean, a lot of people just know her from the Ring of Honor tenure. I mean, she was with the company since 2015. And then look what happens now, man.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, so is she currently the champ?
Yes.
Right now? Who's the...
So it was Angelina Love who beat her. Then a few weeks later, Kelly Klein won it back. So as of right now, she is still the current reigning Women of Honor champion.
Wow. So she could literally pull a Medusa.
If she wanted to.
If she wanted to, she could. I don't think she will. She seems like she still likes the company and wanted to put it on her back. But, Ring of Honor, you just started your women's division and you lose your top. You're basically the person you were building the division around.
Yeah,
so,
dude, she's
that's
in her
not a good look.
Exactly, and this was her third title reign. And like I said, here's the title history of the Women of Honor title. It went from Sumi Sakai, Kelly Klein, Mayu Iwatani, Kelly Klein, Angelina Love, Kelly Klein.
Wow. I didn't even know Angelina Love lost it, but
yeah, she won it at their Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view, which was September 27th. Then she lost it October 12th, so she lost it like a few weeks right after she beat Kelly Klein.
That's a pretty short title reign.
Yeah, she's the shortest because, all right, so if you look at it, the first champ, Sumi Sakai, held it for 251 days. Then Kelly Klein held it for 58 days. Then Mayu Iwatani beat her, held it for 55. Then in her second reign, Kelly Klein held it for 174 days. Then Angelina Love only held it for 15 days.
Wow.
And then Kelly won it back. So right now she's on 41 plus days as being the Women of Honor champion.
So Sumi Sakai, is she still with Ring of Honor?
I believe so. I mean, I know she does Japan stuff. I mean, this is a woman that's been wrestling since, like, what, 98? 20-plus year veteran. But, yeah, she's still doing her thing in Women of Honor and just working all around there. They consider her a regular performer, but I don't know if she's signed. But you see a lot of her there.
Larkin, do you still watch Ring of Honor?
I try, man. I'll be honest, there's too much wrestling on right now. 6 days a week of wrestling. There's a lot of wrestling to keep in touch with. But I was familiar with what they were doing with Kelly Klein, and I knew what they were doing with Matt Taven and the whole the Kingdom being done and the turn that happened there. But I'm familiar, and I knew that Jay Lethal was hurt. That's like the extent I knew about Ring of Honor.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't really watch Ring of Honor at all, so I really have no idea what's going on. So, yeah, but I just know that, she was kind of their ace.
Yep.
Came to the women's division. So that's a pretty big loss, and especially since she had the title. It's not a good look for your company.
I look at it like this. I mean, she was a top heel when she came into the company. She was like a badass heel. BJ Whitmer, her husband, used to accompany her to the ring. And here's the thing, she had this whole Team Kelly, Team Klein type of deal. So she went from being a top heel, then to a top babyface when she got attacked by Angelina Love, Mandy Leon, and Velvet Sky with the Allure stable there. So then she became a babyface. But for a good portion of her tenure, she was a heel, and her last run till now, she was a babyface.
Yeah, so not a good look for Ring of Honor, and Is it a coincidence that Ring of Honor starts going to hell once Bully Ray joins the company?
Yeah, well, it's Bully Ray for you.
Well, at least he's got his busted open gig, right?
Yeah, well, hey.
All right, well, so anyways, we got...
Oh, wait, whoa. We got one more thing we got to talk about news-wise, man.
Bring it to the table.
Alicia Toot has joined the MLW broadcast team.
Oh, Alicia Toot.
Yes.
Okay. She gets around, doesn't she?
Okay, whoa, hey now. All right, so...
What? It's not nothing bad. I just said she gets around wrestling companies. Where are you going with that?
Apocalypse Now don't stop for hoes. I get around. Anyway, we got Alicia who joins the MLW announce team. AJ Kirsch, who was actually just did the voiceover again for Buzz, the WWE My Player in the new WWE 2K team. He's a wrestler, former talent. He's more going into like the broadcasting thing. He just jumped aboard with Tony, what's his face? The guy that was with Tony Schiavone in MLW. That guy. Forgive me for the name, but yeah, it's AJ Kirsch joined the broadcast team. Alicia Toot. We saw her do stuff on AEW, Impact Wrestling, but yeah, she, like you said, Hurls, she does get around. So Alicia Toot now part of MLW.
Well, the thing about Alicia Toot, when she was with Impact, like, she was, she's what, 23, 24?
Yeah, like early 20s, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they had her, Mackenzie Mitchell, and Melissa Santos for a little bit. They were all kind of, doing their thing. And now, Mackenzie Mitchell, I didn't really understand her leaving Impact. She said she left Impact to do something else, but then now she's with WWE. So yep. I think that was kind of interesting in itself.
Dude, I just saw her too, by the way, Mackenzie Mitchell. I think she was one of the new interviewers on NXT now.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, she got her start in wrestling with Impact, so she's got the experience. So I definitely could see it. I just thought she was kind of leaving the business, but nope, she's in WWE. And Alicia Toot, I just thought she was just kind of bland. You know what I mean? Like, I think I respect her passion and, the way she kind of built her own brand. I think that's pretty impressive. And she's a very attractive woman. So is Mackenzie, but I think once Melissa Santos came in there, like, she kind of blew her out of the water. So I think that's kind of why she left Impact. And then she did that thing with AEW. Apparently AEW didn't sign her, which, I don't know. Maybe they didn't see much in her. So hopefully, MLW's, she can build a nice repertoire with MLW.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you got Rick Bocchini, you got Tony Schiavone, who was there, Tony Schiavone, who's now in AEW, AJ Kirsch, her. I think, here's the thing with her, man, because for her age, she's so smart with that music blog, Ambi. I mean, so she's one of those people that has knowledge on the broadcast teams. I think she'll add a lot to the table. I mean, it's kind of like when Renee Young was on NXT. She did very well for herself on the commentary table there, and what she did on Monday Night Raw. So, I mean, it's going to be good to see what she brings to the announce table. And, I mean, as far as you mentioned Melissa Santos, I mean, dude, you're talking about Lucha Underground. She was the announcer there, and ever since she's been on, TV interview-wise and getting involved in the Brian Cage, Sami Callihan stuff, like she was in Lucha Underground with the Phoenix stuff. I mean, she just has that presence about her.
Yeah, I think she just has a better voice, too, and I think she's more seasoned, so I think she just does a better job. Maybe Alicia Toot can do that at some point, but, one of my favorite Alicia Toot Impact moments was actually it wasn't even on Impact. It was on their Twitch channel. They had a show, Ventures, with Stone Rockwell.
Yes.
And they went into a haunted house.
And she got scared, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, actually. It was pretty funny. I mean, Stone Rockwell made it funny, but... Anyways, so yeah, well, good for her, though. Good for her. I hope, I don't watch MLW either because I don't have the station. I know I could watch it on YouTube, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. But good for her. I mean, is Tony Schiavone not in MLW anymore, I would imagine?
I don't believe so, yeah. No, I think it's just AJ Kirsch and Rick Bacchini since Tony Schiavone's on AEW now. So yeah, I think it's just Kirsch and Bacchini.
Interesting. All right. Well, I don't really have any other news stories as far as anything else is going right now.
Well, I think we could just also mention this. CM Punk did make his return to WWE backstage, and he's going to be an analyst now for their show. What do you think about CM Punk? I mean, a lot of people say hell is frozen over because we get to see him on WWE backstage now as an analyst. So what do you think about that they brought CM Punk back in?
Well, I heard he's actually not
contracted, yeah. He's working for Fox.
Contracted by WWE, it's by Fox, apparently. Yeah. So that's kind of the workaround, I guess.
Well, it is cool, though, because he gets to actually watch the product, and he even said, I got to catch up on 5 years of work. So, I mean, it's going to be good. And, I mean, Seth Rollins has just been challenging him on Twitter, and it's just like, no. But he's funny, you know what I'm saying? I did see his stuff on WWE Backstage, and I think... he's going to add a lot. Do I see him getting back in the ring? I don't know. I don't think he wants to. He's 41 years old now, and I think he just likes being in that role that he's in now, dude.
Yeah, I'm not a really big CM Punk fan. Never was. I never really understood the mass appeal he got. I thought when people were saying he was a better wrestler than AJ Styles, oh yes, it happened quite a bit. 2013, 2014, people said he was a better wrestler than AJ Styles. I thought they're absolutely out of their minds. If you're a CM Punk fan, feel free to say why he's better than AJ Styles if you think that, but I don't know. I just never really got the guy. And then he had a pretty big ego. In my opinion, I thought he kind of had a bad attitude just from the way he complained about a lot of things. So I'm not a huge CM Punk fan, so it really doesn't do much for me. And I don't watch WWE backstage, so
all right, I'll be honest.
Never will.
Okay, I'll be honest. When you look at CM Punk, I guess a lot of people like him because he's very brutally honest. He's about that straight edge movement. He's got the Pepsi logo tattooed on his arm, so I guess they like the straight edge stuff. From a former move used to be the Pepsi plunge, the top rope pedigree. There was just something about him. I guess people just thought he was different. He was cool. He had the look. Well, I wouldn't say look, but he just had that vibe about him, if I can put it as that. I mean, his TNA tenure when he was a Julio De Niro, and then he was a Raven as well. And I mean, didn't he got into a fight with Teddy Hart, which everybody remembers.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
what I hear.
Yeah, then he got into didn't he get something with Sabu too? But yeah, whatever. But then he goes to WWE. I was there the first night when he made his debut against Just Incredible on that new ECW. Blah, don't get me started on that. But yeah, no, he's just been whatever until what happened in 2014, the lawsuits, the whole nine, the MMA debacle. But yeah, no, he's back. So okay, but yeah, we just had to bring that up because that was the big news, and this week was his first official week on the show.
Do you remember him on Ghost Hunters?
I think very briefly. I think what was that like mid 2000s, right?
Well, like for some reason when they had ECW on Sci-Fi Channel, they were doing like a co-op thing between ECW and Ghost Hunters, and Ghost Hunters would have their live Halloween special, and CM Punk they put CM Punk with the Ghost Hunting crew, and it was like like 5 hours long. So
oh Jesus,
I do remember him on there. And actually, Elijah Burke, aka D'Angelo De Niro, was also on, I believe, the year after CM Punk, and he actually got fired, I believe, because of something he said on there. So.
oh wow, yeah, I remember that episode. I have to go back to watch, but yeah, what he said. But yeah, that went right after he became the Pope, and Impact, well TNA at the time, and then the AJ Styles title shot at Lockdown. But yeah, no, yeah, so good times, man.
Yeah, definitely. So let's so what do we for Hard to Kill?
Yes.
The pay-per-view, the next Impact Wrestling pay-per-view. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas. It's going to be we have 2 matches announced, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we got Trey Miguel from the Rascals. He's going to be going up against Ace Austin for the X Division title. Shelly West, a.k.a. Miss Miguel, has now been thrown into the storylines.
Yep.
So it makes it an interesting dynamic, and it goes along with the Ace Austin gimmick. So I'm interested to see where it goes. We also have, which we found out this past week, was also spoiled for us, Tessa Blanchard. She's going to be going up against Sami Callihan for the world title, and we'll get into that a little bit. But let's go through Impact real quick, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So the first match tonight, it opened up for this week's Impact. It was the Deaners versus the Rascals versus Reno Scum versus Desi Hit Squad. The Rascals won.
Yep.
So, what did you think of the opening match? I thought it was pretty good. I thought I actually liked it. I mean, there was it seemed like they were doing dives to the outside, like the whole match. Like somebody was doing something to the outside. A bunch of they were basically like fly right into the other wrestlers on the outside. I thought it was kind of cool.
I mean, you had that high-octane aerial assault from each and every one of the guys, and you got to see everybody do a dive, and, it was a fun match. It really was, and then, the finish with the with that moonsault there, he just friggin' flops him right onto him, which I think is cool, right onto Cousin Jake there, which, I'll be honest with you, the Rascals, it made sense because, they get beat down by the Reno Scum Boys, and then, here comes Trey to make the save, and then here comes Ace Austin with the medal in his wrist, bada boom, spinning back fist. And like you mentioned, Shelly West, it's great to see her as as Trey's mom there and getting involved in the storyline, so it builds to Ace Austin versus Trey Miguel going into Hard to Kill, and we'll talk about that Treehouse segment later, which was just hilarious. But yeah, I mean, it was what it needed to be, Hurls. It was a fun match that furthered Ace Austin and Trey Miguel going into Hard to Kill.
Well, I'm really happy that Impact signed Reno Scum. I think they're a solid tag team, and they got a really raw deal the first time they were in Impact. So I'm glad they got another shot because I think they're a really valuable team. I'm a huge fan of Luster the Legend. I think Adam Thornstowe is really good too, but they're just a really good team, and I kind of like the dynamic they have with Ace Austin right now. I think it gives Ace Austin a little more credibility. I'm a huge fan of Jake Deaner. I think he's really talented. I think, he's kind of in that comedy tag team right now, but eventually down the line, I would like to see him kind of go off on his own because I think he can definitely be a major player, eventually. Desi Hit Squad, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to think of them, really. I think Rohit Raju's a very talented wrestler, okay? Raj Singh's just kind of like, he's okay, but I don't know. They're getting better, I think. They're getting a little better with their, they're funny, right? They're a heel. I think they're kind of like a comedy heel team to me.
You know what it is, too? I mean, they both work hard, Raj, and Raj being the son of Gama, and you got Rohit Raju, the former Akeem, saying, I see it, I get it, but I'm just still, I know they've improved, don't get me wrong, but it's just like I'm still amped with them. And you got Mahabali, Shira in the background there, and we saw this week, they beat up Fallah Bahh. Now it looks like we're going to get a tag match or a singles match with Fallah against one of them, or maybe now a Fallah and TJP against the Desi Hit Squad, which, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then you also kind of, I know you probably don't watch Explosion much, but they were running out Bhupinder Singh too quite a bit.
I noticed that. Didn't he wrestle on Impact like a couple of weeks ago, right? He was on
He
that.
did. So I think they're trying to get a little bit more guys into the stable, which is cool. So yeah, they're growing. I mean, the Rascals are great. I think they definitely need some gold soon. I don't know what that. I mean, if it's the tag team titles, that's fine. They can kind of be Impact's version of the New Day a little bit, and I think that's kind of what they kind of remind me of a little bit. But I like their gimmick better. I know it's adult oriented, which is cool because if others aren't doing it that way, I think it's cool to Impact to kind of go after that market. So yeah, just a fun opening tag team match. So then the next match we had was we had the previous week where we had a backstage segment with Johnny Bravo and Taya Valkyrie and Jordan Grace. Well, Jordan Grace, she wanted to wrestle both of them, which was interesting, but whatever. Taya basically abandoned Bravo during the mid-match, and Jordan Grace ended up getting the victory. Any thoughts on this one?
Vader Bomb 1, 2, 3. It was there just to design. I guess they're going to set up Ty and Jordan for Hard to Kill. So I mean, it just builds more to that feud, and of course Johnny Bravo's going to take the pin because it's Johnny Bravo. And the thing with the dog, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I get it. The was it Mundo, right? That's what he calls a dog, Mr. Mundo or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's funny, but I'm just like, all right, I get it. I know what you're doing, but it was fine. It was exactly what it needed to be to push Jordan Grace to that title match with Taya, which we know is coming.
Well, yeah, I think Johnny Bravo's actually been hilarious.
Yeah, I mean,
he's grown up to me. I think he's been pretty funny in this role.
Hey, when he was trying to flirt with Havoc, I died. So.
Yes, exactly. I just think he's hilarious. Some of his promos that he's done, I don't know. I think it's been pretty entertaining. I'll say that at least. But Jordan Grace, as much as we may not like what she says on Twitter, she's still a very talented wrestler. I think she's definitely can be Knockouts champion in the future. She's got all the tools, right? So why not? I think obviously this is where it's going. So we're probably going to get this at Hard to Kill. I could see it. I could see Jordan Grace finally winning the Knockouts title. What do you think?
I do. I mean, she fought her. What was the last one? Was it Slammiversary where they had that match? I think so. Taya and Jordan. Am I correct? Or was it before that?
No, I think it was. Wasn't it Rebellion?
Yeah, Rebellion. I'm sorry. Yeah, they had that match there, and she got the win. No, yeah, Slammiversary was Tenille. My bad. Yeah, so was that Rebellion? So
no. Slammiversary was the 4-way.
The Monsters Ball. See, Hurls, there's too many goddamn. It intertwines. Okay, so yeah, the Fatal 4-Way. The Tombstone on the Tax. That's right. Oh yeah. Okay, so the Fatal 4-Way was Slammiversary, Rebellion. Thank you. And the Bound for Glory was Tenille, right?
Yes.
Thank you. I got everything mixed up. But yeah, you know where I was going. Okay, so she's had those title matches. She can already say that she's the longest reigning Knockouts champion in history. So I'm going to say yes, this is going to lead to Jordan Grace winning the title.
Yeah, definitely. And Taya will have broken that record by quite a long time.
Of course. So yeah, I mean, why not? And then you push it on Jordan, then who knows what we can have with the Jordan Grace as the champ and see who she gets to intertwine and go at it with. I'm sure they could do something with Kiera because they were former friends with Madison Rayne and the whole nine there. But yeah, it'll all work itself out.
The locker room leader.
God, just shut up. Just no. You just no. I mean, I get it. She's being the heel, but the locker room leader, Madison Rayne. But by the way, are they going to cite Alexia and Nicole? What the hell is the deal with that? Because I keep constantly seeing Alexia and Nicole. Or is she just at those tapings?
I you know what? She's got to earn her stripes. I think eventually I don't know. I don't think she's signed. I think she's just kind of been used because she's local around there.
The bubblegum princess, Hurls. The bubblegum princess.
She is the bubblegum princess. That is correct. Yeah,
so after that match, I explained the Gama Singh was furious. You both better win.
I was just going to say, though, your friend and my friend, bubblegum princess, Alexia Nicole.
Oh, yes. I love me some Alexia Nicole. Absolutely. Well, yeah, no, after that, man, we had Gama Singh. He was pissed off at Raj and Rohit. Y'all better win. Stop losing, you sons of bitches. And then here comes Falaba eating a salad, and then they just beat the crap out of Falaba. You think that's going to make you lose weight?
Man, takes a lot of fat shaming and verbal abuse lately.
Of course. And I mean, well, that's the thing. They're always, it's like when the Tyrus feud happened and he was helping him because he was getting fat shamed. But yeah, so yeah, that's where we're going next. Falaba and the Desi Hit Squad, and I'll probably have TJP involved. So what did you think about the Falaba beatdown?
I actually thought, I mean, it was good. Whatever. It gives Desi Hit Squad a little mean streak, and Falaba sets up a feud to do something, right? I mean, when they had him on the crate and they rammed him right into the wall, I was like, damn, that actually's got to hurt because they rammed his head right into the wall.
Yeah, and you see his feet just like sticking out there, boom, too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough beatdown.
It was. So, you laughing at us?
Falaba can get some redemption. Hey, Impact Wrestling, how about you do this? You bring one of his former tag team partners back, Mario Bocara. Hint, hint. Come on. Bring him back, Impact.
Because that's what everybody's clamoring for, is the return of Mario Bocara.
Hey, it might not be everybody, but it's me, damn it.
What's next? You going to campaign for KM to come back?
No. He can stay unemployed.
He just said no. I like you.
You probably thought I was going KM.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I pulled a Russo swerve, bro.
Bro, you had to take it back to the GFW days, bro. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, and went with Mario Bocara.
Yes. So, well, here's the thing.
Croatian sensation. We didn't get to see enough of him. He got injured, and that was the end of him. Like, what the hell?
Come on back, Mario.
They tease us with the Twitch show, It's like, what the hell?
Well,
no, I think him and Falaba remind me of Owen and Yoko.
Oh, I
thought that's what they kind of remind me of that.
The WWF Tag Team Champions, Owen Hart and Yokozuna, sir? Yes?
Yeah, they're managed by Jim Cornette.
All right. Okay.
My goodness.
God. Well, speaking of my goodness, we got to talk about Rob Van Dam. Guess what? He won't be on Impact tonight because he decided to party the night before with Katie Forbes. And can you blame him? No, I can't blame him.
No. I'm liking the heel persona of RVD. I would imagine that we're going to get another Rhino RVD match at Hard to Kill possibly. So come on, Rhino's got to get his redemption. I know they just wrestled at the last, I believe it was Impact Plus event.
Yeah,
Turning Point. Come on. So, let's go to the next match. We got Johnny Swinger.
Whoa, Hurls. What about Susie? What? Susie was in the backstage, and Jim Cornette was telling her to meet her by the car outside. Then here comes Rosemary. She knows what he's trying to pull. What do you think about what's going on with Su Yung and Susie?
Oh yeah, we definitely have to talk about this. See, I watched Impact, and I was looking up this results page, and they just went straight to the matches, basically skipped all the promos. So, anyways, no, I actually really enjoy this. Like, I think isn't it funny how you like when Susie, like how she does her mannerisms, like looks all over the place, like she's super confused. I think I'm enjoying it. I like a good angle like this. I think I don't know exactly where. Well, she'll eventually go back to Su Yung, but it better lead to something like, giving Su Yung a good push. That's kind of what I want to see from this. But I'm liking it. I like the angle. I think, though, some of these backstage segments need to be a lot longer because they could cut some time out of these matches. And I think the backstage segments, they gotta at least make these like at least two minutes longer. I think you could do a lot more with this stuff, and I think they're really missing out. What do you think?
You know what it is, too? I could see them going longer, but with the Susie stuff, like, they're building to her and Havoc for Hard to Kill. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm intrigued with the Susie character because, we've seen... I think the last time I saw Su Yung without the makeup was in, like, the mid-2000s, like 2010, 11, 12, when she was in Shine. So if people want to go back and watch a young Su Yung in Shine before she was an undead bride, you could see her there without the makeup. But no, man, I mean, it's just... it's cool. It's an interesting dynamic to her character. A lot of people say it's reminiscent of when Abyss was Abyss, and then here is Abyss as Joseph Park, like Sue Young as this undead bride, and out here she is as Susie. But, I mean, it's cool. I like it as far as the segments go. I mean, right after this, we had the Treehouse segment, which I laughed at because, I'm going to call your moms on you, Desmond and Zachary. So, I mean, it's funny because you got Shelley West acting like this worried mom because they want to break those fools, that being Reno scum in New York. So, I mean, it's cool. I love it. It's just, there's some things that'll subtleties like that where it's short and to the point, and there's some that could be long. But, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. So, let's segue. What did you think about the Treehouse?
Yeah, I mean, the Treehouse is always entertaining, right? I mean, they're always doing something pretty funny in there, and I haven't been disappointed by any of the Treehouse segments. I find, at first the Rascals gimmick, I just didn't know what to expect, but over time it's grew on me, and I think they're pretty entertaining. So, what else do you need, right?
Exactly, and I mean, speaking of entertaining, your boy Johnny Swinger went one-on-one with Buck Gunderson, brother.
Well, if I may refer to you, Larkin, as a Mizark. That's what you are.
Mizark. Good Lord. I gotta go get some Rizats.
That's right. Get some Rizats. Bunch of 80s puns. I don't know what to think of Johnny Swinger. I'm glad he's finally getting his TV time after all these years. I mean, you got to look at it. His whole WCW career basically was him just being fed to everyone else.
Yep.
And he never really got a lot of time. No backstage promo, not many at least. It's just, you know what? I'm glad he's fine. And I mean, his ECW stuff I really didn't watch much, but I'm glad he's finally kind of getting some screen time. The guy deserves it. He's had a hell of a career. I'm not even want to say he's had a hell of a career. He's been in the business a long time, and I think it's nice to see what this guy can actually do after he looked like he had a lot of promise back in the day, okay? And he just was never used for whatever reason. So I think he's a solid. I mean, he's a solid wrestler. I think he can show more than he's actually doing. But this new character he has, it's pretty funny, and I don't know. I'm digging it. And come on, he's shitting Ken Shamrock's bag. I mean,
it was just supposed to be a rib, bro. It was supposed to be a rib. Why are you getting so mad, Ken? I'm sorry.
It's a rib. It's a wrestling rib. So. His whole gimmick is a wrestling cliche, and I kind of like that. So
and here's the thing with him, like you mentioned, WCW, ECW with Simon Diamond, the NYC, and early NWA, TNA. Johnny Parisi, which was very brief in WWE, which I believe they gave him, or he took that name because his uncle was a wrestler and his real name was Parisi, so he took his uncle's last name and he became Johnny Parisi for a short time in the WWE. He mostly wrestled on Heat, so you rarely ever saw goddamn Johnny Swinger in the WWE. And jobbing a Matt Striker on Sunday Night Heat, but yeah, then you saw him come back for, I believe, for those Extreme Risings, or those pay-per-views with the EV 2.0, the whole nine there, and then he did some Twitch shows, right, Hurls?
Yes, he was pretty prevalent in ECW, Border City Championship Wrestling. So I think that's kind of where Scott D'Amore's been signing a lot of BCW guys. BCW is a really good promotion. They put on really entertaining shows, and Scott D'Amore's he's brought that to Impact Wrestling. So I like a lot of the BCW guys. I mean, everybody from Ace Austin to Cousin Jake to Josh Alexander, like all these guys, you see them on BCW. And there's even guys like Brett Banks and Aiden Prince you've been seeing lately. Those guys are also BCW guys that have been there regulars. So they have a really talented roster, and I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Phil Atlas comes in there because he's really talented as well. Even maybe RJ City, he's kind of made some, a bigger name for himself on the indies. So a lot of these guys I could see Impact signing in the next few months.
So
I'm kind of shocked though. We have not seen Ace Ramiro.
Well, the last time
after Bound for Glory.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We saw AC Baby at Bound for Glory. Have not seen him on Impact since. So we shall see what happens with AC Baby. I like him. Big size, dude can move, very agile. So yeah, let's see what they do with AC Baby. But what we are going to see what they're doing. Hurls, Ken Shamrock comes out. Freaking pretty much belly to belly is the crap. Johnny Swinger puts him in the ankle lock. And then backstage we get friggin' Swinger runs into Joey Ryan, asks him if he has any advice on how to handle Shamrock, and he tells him, don't let him touch your dick. So...
God. My favorite guy, Joey Ryan. Yeah. Wow.
So are you looking forward to Ken Shamrock versus Johnny Swinger?
Just from the train wreck it's going to be, sure.
Oh, you know what it is, too?
I think it's probably just going to be a squash match, but who knows?
Let me say this. When I saw him at Bound for Glory against Moose, the dive, I was like, holy shit, that dive. And then he hit like a drop kick. I think he did a Hurricane Rana, a belly-to-belly suplex in the ankle lock. But and I know he's old. I know he's like 55. But Ken Shamrock looks in great shape, but I was just like, meh, with that match. I was just like, ugh. Then they did the Joey Ryan thing was just Joey got to do the dick flex on Shamrock, and then he hit like a couple clotheslines, belly-to-belly, ankle lock, that's it, right? So, yeah.
Yes.
I think with the Moose match, they had him do a little too much. He's better in like the squash matches kind of deal. We only does a couple moves.
Yeah, I didn't think the Moose match was great. It was a lot better than I think a lot of people expected, though. I mean, Ken Shamrock pulled out some stuff that you probably didn't think he could still do. So I thought that in itself was, that was at least entertaining. And he looks in great shape still. So that obviously helps. So
he's got Valor Bare Knuckle coming, man. He's got the new Bare Knuckle fighting promotion.
Yeah, that's cool. He's venturing out and doing new things. Can't hate that.
So, yeah, that was that. And then Hurls, we get straight to the main event. A long main event it was. Moose and Daga, the first to start it off. We'll start with that one.
Yeah, these two had really good chemistry in the ring. I would like to see more of that. Daga is really impressive. I think that's a really good signing by Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling really needs a mid-card title. I mean, I know it's very cliche, but they should bring back like a TV title or something, because wouldn't a perfect guy to win that be like a guy like Daga, who just kind of got in the company? He's really impressive. Put it on him and, give him a solid run, get that belt some prestige, and why not? But Daga's really impressive. What do you think of Daga?
I like him. I saw him on Ring of Honor when he was with Cobra Moon, who is now Thunder Rosa. He was in the mix, man. He was a part of the Reptilian tribe. She was actually very interested in Daga, and he could work. I thought he was great in Lucha Underground. He did some stuff in MLW. He's now on Impact Wrestling. His boo is there, one Tessa Blanchard. So, I mean, he's good. He can work. I think we had a great clash with the styles there. Had great styles that meshed with him and Moose. I think it was a hell of a way to start off the gauntlet. Then Moose eliminates Daga, no jackhammer needed, the whole nine. And I think it was a great way to start off the elimination matchup there. So yeah, I dig Daga, man. I hope we see him more in the X Division against Ace Austin, a lot of those guys. I think he's good.
Yeah, I think he's not only good, but he seems like a guy who can go from the X Division to the heavyweight division, because he's got some size to him too. So he's like a bigger better version of Trey Miguel.
I do.
You know what I mean? That's why I think so, because I think he's more main event. He's like more of a main event player to me. So I think Daga could be shot up if they really, if they wanted to get a guy and they want to go behind a guy. I think Daga could be a solid guy to go behind.
I agree. So, and speaking of another solid guy, we had Rich Swann come in against Moose, and Rich Swann winds up pinning Moose 1, 2, 3, the whole nine there, and they had a great clash. But I think what a lot of people will talk about with Rich Swann, because Michael Elgin comes in, and he has the blood coming out of his mouth, and then he had to be taken out. Friggin' Rich Swann got beaten. You see him coming from the nose and mouth, spitting up blood, coughing up blood, and then just Michael Elgin being the badass that he is. And those two had a great sequence. So I got to ask you, Rich Swann's performance in this bout.
Oh, Rich Swann's performance was awesome. He was the MVP of the night. He looked like $1 million, especially with the blood. The blood just gave it more of an effect, and you really wanted to root for Rich Swann. I think Rich Swann's like, he's been lighting the world on fire, and he's a smaller guy, but he can play that underdog so well. And for him to beat Moose and Michael Elgin back to back, That was pretty cool. And then obviously he's fed to Brian Cage, but still, like, to fight him, he looked like $1,000,000 out there. I think Rich Swann could be another main event player if they're looking at guys. I know he was already X Division champion, but Rich Swann, Michael Elgin, Moose, all three of those guys, really great workers, and that was awesome. I think Rich Swann made this gauntlet match very enjoyable. What do you think?
I did, and you want me to kind of compare like the Kofi Kingston going into WrestleMania Daniel Bryan for a sec? You want me to tell you a little bit of the parallels that are kind of parallels?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So Kofi Kingston gets beaten down during the entire match. Now, mind you, he didn't have blood coming out the mouth like Rich Swann did, right? Okay, so Brian Cage coming in, checking on his friend before he beats Rich Swann, right? Kind of reminded when AJ Styles got involved and, was telling Kofi, do you really want to do this? Now, here's the difference, though. So Rich Swann gets taken out. Kofi goes through everybody, but then at the end loses to Daniel Bryan. The only difference is Brian Cage beat Brian Cage beat Kofi Kingston. Excuse me. Brian Cage beat Rich Swann, but Kofi went through everybody until Daniel Bryan at the end. This was Rich Swann went through Moose. He went through Michael Elgin, then Brian Cage. There's similarities, but in a certain way. Just Rich didn't go the whole entire way. He got to where he got, and it made for a great sequence. And just you felt the sympathy for Rich Swann with the blood coming out of the mouth. So yeah, I think he did great, and he worked fabulous. So I definitely want to see him, and I believe they're doing on their next Impact Plus special, we're going to get Callahan and Swann for the Impact World title.
Wow, definitely well deserved. I mean, obviously Callahan's going to win, but still, I think that's well deserved. I think Rich Swann. I mean, right now, if I'm looking at a main event player, obviously we'll get into this in a little bit, but I mean, there's a lot of guys that really should be going for the world title. I think Eddie Edwards is a guy. Let's not forget he's got the call your shot still.
Yes,
right?
he does.
He hasn't cashed that in yet. So we also have Moose that clearly needs to be. I think he should have some gold on him. Maybe there is plans to put the title on Moose. I wouldn't doubt it, but there's a lot of great. I mean, for Raven Effect and AEW dude to say that Impact doesn't have stars, I totally disagree. I think they have enough. They have they got a lot more than you think they do. When you look at that gauntlet match, you just saw 6 of some of the best wrestlers in the world. I mean, there's no question. Like Daga, Moose, Michael Elgin, Rich Swann, Brian Cage. I'm not a huge fan of Brian Cage, but all of them, they're all really talented. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say I'm not a fan of Brian Cage. I just don't like how he's been used the past few months. I think, like, if he's really injured, what I mean? They're like almost treating him like a Brock Lesnar. You got to show up a little more than what he's done. But whatever. Okay. So Brian Cage eliminates Rich Swann, and then Tessa Blanchard comes out. Here's what I'll say.
Okay.
Am I anti intergender matches as much as Raven and Dude are? Not a chance. Tessa Blanchard goes in there and she, it's wrestling, okay? It's not a real sport, right? So anything can happen really in wrestling. That's what I think we're kind of missing with this. She goes out there and she makes it believable that whoever she's wrestling, she's taking what they're giving to her, but also a lot of her moves were just quick strikes. If you watch it, it's all just quick strikes, okay, against Brian Cage. It's not like she's dominating Brian Cage. She did a lot of quick striking, and the way she won, I don't even know what you call that, like a flip bomb, right?
It's pretty much like a sunset flip bomb, kind of Code Reddish.
Yeah, like a sunset flip bomb. That's what I would say. Sunset flip bomb. And that's how she wins. It's almost parallel to. It's almost like a schoolboy, right? It's kind of like
Rey Mysterio has won a lot of matches with them.
Kinda.
Well, yeah, Rey Mysterio's won a lot of matches with them.
Yeah. But Tessa Blanchard's tough. Like, she can take the punishment, okay? And that's what I think helps this out. Now, you can be mad as hell that she's probably going to win the world title. I don't know what to feel about it either. I do know that people do want to see it, though. I don't think it's going to get the backlash as they think it's, or like Raven Effect and AEW do think it's going to be. I just think that it's people want to see it. Tessa's over. I don't think she's super pushed to the point where she's getting boos from the crowd yet. So I think people still do want to see it, and I think she's an Impact. She's a big time star, in my opinion, in Impact. She's a star. She gets reactions everywhere. So her winning, yeah, it's something. It's different, but I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about it. I'm a huge Tessa fan, so I don't know. I really don't know what to think about it. I'm just gonna sit back and watch it and kind of just observe from that point. I don't want to look into the future and say, oh, this is gonna be the worst thing ever, because every time she's had a match, it's been really good. And her and Sammy tore the house down at Slammiversary. What's your thoughts?
All right, so like you mentioned, the strikes. Like she got a couple strikes in, she got a cutter in, she's got the magnums in. Weapon X was in there, so they had a lot of near falls. Brian Cage with that F5 on the hardest part of the ring. My goodness. So they went back and forth. I mean, they've wrestled each other at Wrestle Circus before, so we've seen this match go. And, I mean, it was very competitive at Wrestle Circus. So they did what they needed to do. And like you mentioned, Tessa wins with the Sunset Flip Bomb / Code Red-ish, if you will. And that sets up, and, Brian Cage congratulated her after the match. So that sets up Tessa and Sammy for the world title, Hard to Kill. I know a lot of people, like you mentioned, have been clamoring for Tessa to become the first ever female world's heavyweight champion. And, I mean, look at her on WoW. I mean, we got the season finale. She's the world champion there, taking on a veteran in Jungle Girl. We have the Monsters of Madness, Havoc and Hazard against Fire and Adrenaline, Kiera Hogan and the former Diamante. So she's using a prominent role in WoW. She's used as a prominent role in Impact. And, I mean, I think she's been working her butt off and killing it. Am I a fan of having Sammy and Tessa? No. I mean, I get it because it furthers the storyline because Sammy's beaten her twice, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the third encounter that we're going to see between the two, and I think they are going the route of Tessa winning because third time's the charm, and finally getting that comeuppance on Sami Callihan. I think that's what they're using it for, and I mean I think it's great that Sami finally got the belt with his win over Cage in the cage match, pun intended. I think it's the right time for Sami now. He's going to get the match with Swan coming up since Swan pinned him in the tag. So I mean Sami Callihan's going to make it fun as Sami Callihan does. Personally, would I like to see Sami Callihan retain the title? Yes, since he just got it, because you could also build to what's the April pay-per-view after Hard to Kill? Was it Rebellion, right? Or
yeah, they kind of seem like they're kind of changing the names to the January and February or January and April pay-per-views.
Okay, so I mean you could build it to the April pay-per-view even, but either way, that like the future, the premonition, if you will, is Tessa Blanchard winning that title. So it can still continue and people will enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Tessa Blanchard, she wins it, and then she's, in my opinion, I think she would have a shorter reign. I really do, because I think the way they're even booking her she's getting a lot of surprise victories, and she's taken some losses too. So, I don't know, but I think they got a long line of people who definitely deserve it. But do you think with her winning the world title might be a way for them to keep her possibly for another contract?
I don't know about that, man. I think she's been happy with what's been going on because she's getting that praise. She's getting that spotlight in Impact Wrestling. If she goes anywhere else, like I said, she's another one that could be great in AEW to freshen up the women's division. She'd be great in NXT. She'd be great friggin' where else? She'd be great in Japan if she went over to Japan or in Mexico. The Reina de Reinas in AAA there. So, I mean, dude, she's an asset wherever she goes. She's got skills that kills with a Z for emphasis instead of replacing with the S. So, I mean, dude, she's going to do her thing. But, yeah, no, I think she's just enjoying her tenure right now in Impact Wrestling. She's having a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely seems that way. I think, she really enjoys doing these intergender matches. So, I think people are captivated by this, and I think, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. We could all be surprised, and, who knows? I'm just, like I said, I'm just judging it as it happens. I'm not going to throw a big rage fit because, I mean, any company you look at, you can look at some type of thing and you'll be like, okay, that's unbelievable, right? It's not going to happen. But, yeah, it happens. I mean, are we supposed to believe that Riho can, 98-pound woman can beat Nyla Rose, who's a man? Oh, I'm sorry, transgendered.
So Well, segue to AEW with that remark there, you hater. No, I'm kidding. but
Damn right.
Damn right, he says. With what we got, we're going with AEW right now. Next week, we are going to get the man who has the one blemish, has given Chris Jericho the one blemish on his record so far in AEW, Scorpio Sky. Chris Jericho, Scorpio Sky for the AEW World's Heavyweight Championship on the Thanksgiving edition of AEW. We got MJF and Hangman Page in that Dynamite Diamond ring that they're going to get from that Dynamite Dozen Battle Royale that we saw. We're going to see a lot. We saw Private Party in LAX this week, which was pretty decent. And we saw Jon Moxley against Darby Allin in the main event with the super paradigm shift off the top rope. It's been a lot of solid stuff this week. AEW did lose to NXT this week in the ratings by a little something.
Yeah, what were the ratings for that?
Oh my god, I think it was like 900 something thousand. I'll check. Well, actually, Harold, while I go check, give me your thoughts about what's been going on with AEW and what I just mentioned. Jericho, Scorpio Sky, AEW World Title next week. Go.
Well, I can tell you this. A lot of people, not just me, were complaining about having a backstage promo get interrupted by...
Oh, yes, the Peter Hamill. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Good.
And the other fellow HeelCaster, Raven, said, what company doesn't do that? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I don't remember any company doing that. And and it was so bad that Jericho on his own Facebook page had to post the uncut version of the promo so everyone could hear it. So clearly there was enough people that were complaining about it for, him to post about it. So I just thought that was weird. Like, why would you cut to a commercial when you're doing a promo? So I don't know. I think AEW's roster is not that good. Besides, they got a decent tag division. The heavyweight division is like, you got about maybe 4 or 5 guys that are really good. But other than that, they got a lot of guys that are just like, they're just very inexperienced. Okay. So that's been kind of my gripe with them. I think, Jericho's a hell of a performer. Cody, you can kind of go either way with. He can be good. If you like him, that's fine. And I get it. I think Pac's really talented. He's a star. I think Jon Moxley obviously is really talented. Kenny Omega, and then you got the Bucks, the Lucha Brothers, and Pride and Powerful. But then you got a lot of guys like Joey Janela and
Sean Spears.
Sean Spears. They got a lot of filler guys in my opinion. So their women's division, it's like, who do you get behind? You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody I'm really rooting for in their women's division.
Your favorite Hurls?
Yeah, they're really like shoving her down a lot of, they're really pushing her hard, but yet she loses this week.
Yeah, she
lost.
You know
what I mean? Like, I thought that was just kind of strange.
Yeah, so she lost to, what was it, Sakura, right? Yeah, Sakura, the Japanese girl.
You have Awesome Kong on the roster. You have Allie. You have a few names, but nothing too big. Their women's division definitely needs some work.
Well, the Japanese girls are very good. It's just they need more people besides the Japanese girls. Like, you got...
Well, yeah, everyone's losing to the Japanese girls. So I just... They're really pushing them really hard, but...
Well, you have Allie, you have Brandy Rhodes, you have Awesome Kong, you have all these other people, but you're bringing in more people on the AEW Dark. I believe they just signed Big Swole, a.k.a. Ariel Monroe, the wife of WWE Cedric Alexander, and I know they're bringing in more people on Dark, but that's great, but it's just like, we need to see more women on AEW Dynamite.
What is AEW Dark and where does that broadcast on?
It's on their YouTube channel, and it's kind of like the matches that happened before AEW Dynamites. It's like their version of Sunday Night Heat.
Okay,
so the ratings this week, if you listen to Brian Alvarez on Twitter, AEW won every demo except 50+. NXT, 916,000. AEW, 893,000.
Wow. So what was the big storyline this week in NXT that push them over the top?
Well, it's the Survivor Series go home, and you had all the Raw team members like Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Seth freaking Rollins was on there, and the SmackDown teams and the NXT teams. So they have 2 shows. Saturday is the War Games, NXT TakeOver War Games. Sunday Survivor Series, Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. So you had everybody pretty much invading, and they left the doors open. You had Becky Lynch on the show. You had pretty much everybody.
Okay, interesting.
And this week, the only thing with AEW...
Yeah, it's the first week that NXT won out of the war, so...
Yeah, and everybody was intrigued to see because everybody was there, and it's the go-home before Survivor Series. And AEW this week, I'll be honest with you, I liked it. I thought it was good, but the real big thing that they built to next week was Jericho and Scorpio Sky for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And the Battle Royale, of course, with MJF and Hangman Page. And obviously, we're going to see Cody and MJF down the line. We got Wardlow, who was the enforcer, the muscle for MJF. So it's going to be interesting. Now I have to ask you, what are your thoughts on Jericho and Scorpio Sky for the AEW title? The only man that has put a blemish. And Chris Jericho was acting like WCW when he lost to Alex Wright with those chairs. That's what he was acting like. So
yeah, I kind of do enjoy Jericho kind of bringing some of his WCW character a little bit. But Scorpio Sky, I think he was really talented from the times I saw him. I just don't look at him like a main event talent. And I think that's something they're kind of missing. Like when you look at Impact, you got Sami Callihan, who's been obviously known for his promo skills, just been tearing it up like crazy, okay? You got guys like Brian Cage, who's been tearing it up on the West Coast for years. Same with Sami Callihan. You got Michael Elgin, who's a former Ring of Honor champion. You got a lot of guys that, have been in different areas and really earned their keep. Scorpio Sky is also a West Coast guy, but you know what? You think of him more as a tag team wrestler or like a high-flying X Division style wrestler, right? So I just think it's kind of strange, like who AEW is pushing right now when you have guys like Jon Moxley and Pac. Like I don't really get it. I think Jericho will win, obviously. It's kind of a filler match to me, but I just think it's strange who some of the guys they're pushing. I think they really need to start doing brand recognition, and they need to have more of their popular stars hold the belts right now. That's what I think they need to do, and then they need to build up the younger guys, or they need to build up some of the guys that they want to push and build them up slowly. And I don't think they're doing that right now. So they're pushing guys who I don't think are ready for that spot, like Darby Allin. He's not a main event player, not at all, in my opinion. So, strange. I just think their booking decisions are kind of strange right now.
And also, you have your favorite superstar, Orange Cassidy.
Oh, man. I mean...
Orange Cassidy.
I mean, if you want to complain about unbelievability, and you got this guy just doing slow-motion kicks, like, I get it. It's funny, but...
The hands in the pockets.
You can't complain about one thing and then enjoy the other. I just think, it's just... I don't really...
You don't get it?
I don't get it. It's funny to an extent, but you can't be that guy that's all about believability and then be a fan of Orange Cassidy. I just think it's pretty hypocritical. So...
Well, yeah, that's pretty much AEW.
It's what it is.
Yeah, and that's pretty much AEW. I mean, the next event, I believe, is in January. We got the Rock and Wrestling Cruise again, Chris Jericho and AEW. I could definitely see the Rock and Roll Express on there with, by the way, first and foremost, Ricky Morton with the slowest Canadian destroyer in the history of our sport. I freaking Santana, because they were helping him to make sure he didn't kill Santana. I mean, the tope suicida, the springboard, I get it, but god dang, that was one of the slowest Canadian destroyers I've ever seen in my life. And I get it. I know they're 61 and 63, but I don't want to go see them against Proud and Powerful. I don't, and I'm sorry, and I'm a fan of the Rock and Roll Express, but Jesus.
Yeah, and I mean, what about Billy Gunn? I mean, he was in that Rumble too. I mean, he's got it. How old is he now? 50? He's got to be about 55.
Yeah, he's in his 50s. But yeah, I know. Okay, well, hold on, Hurls. Before we even close this out, talk about why Billy Gunn being in the Battle Royale. You were like, but seeing Billy Gunn. Just say.
What's my view on him?
Yeah, what's your view on it? Go ahead, Hurls. I know you had some things to say about Billy Gunn.
I think he's a very talented worker. The guy was. I was a fan of his work. He definitely made other people look like $1 million. He sells very well. But isn't it sad? Like, he looked like the biggest guy in the ring.
He did. Well, he keeps himself in shape.
I mean, seriously, like, he looked like he would tower over half the other guys in the Rumble. I mean, you remember WWF in the late 90s, like, you wouldn't have thought of him as that, right?
No.
You would have thought of him as just like kind of one of the lower end guys. I mean, he's wrestling like Kane and Undertaker and
The Rock.
Road War, Legion of Doom. It's just crazy how the business has gone from getting these bigger guys to getting the small guys. So
well, what's interesting about him too is Billy Gunn is a year older than Ken Shamrock. He is 56.
Wow.
And well, we got to talk about the spot. Sonny Kiss twerking, and Billy Gunn was about to be the ass man that he is.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, no comment from me.
All right, first and foremost, here's the thing. I've seen
Marco Stunt, Jungle Boy. Yeah, there was a lot of strange.
You want me to? I'll just say it.
Yeah.
I've seen Sonny Kiss wrestle on the independent circuit. He used to do obviously he was in Lucha Underground, but he wrestled a lot on the East Coast. He did a lot of the Matter of Pride shows in the old Deer Park Sportatorium, also where they would hold the New York Wrestling Connection. He did a lot of those shows, so I would see a lot of his work, and I think he's very talented. I know he's very flamboyant, the little twerking, the whole night there, but that's him. I mean, look at that, like your gimmicks, like your exotic Adrian Street, and when Rico kind of like did that in the WWE from 2003 to 2004. So I mean, I get it. I know a lot of people may not be a fan of that, but I understand. I mean, he's got athleticism.
You know what though? It wasn't like over the top though.
Well,
and that was entertaining.
Hold on, Hurls.
And here's the problem.
Good.
Here's my problem with Sonny Kiss. It's way too overblown. Like Rico was entertaining. Billy and Chuck was entertaining.
Orlando Jordan.
Sonny Kiss is just like, hey, I'm just being flamboyant for the hell of it.
Well, what about...
I'm not. Exotic Adrian Street's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. His promos were great. He did that because he was wrestling in like a Southern territory with a bunch of cowboys. I thought it was hilarious, his promos he did. But Sonny Kiss, like, what is he doing to the table besides twerking his ass? You know what I mean?
What about when Orlando Jordan would put the shaving cream on him or whatever that was?
He was doing something different every week.
Uh-huh.
But guess what? It was entertaining because it's not just him twerking his ass and just being all flamboyant. It was more to that. There's substance there. You have to look at the substance. You cannot look at just, hey, I don't even want to, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
Look, I'm homosexual, I'm gay, so here I am. That's my, but there's nothing. What else? What else is there? It's just like, okay, I'm gonna twerk, and then what? You got guys like Orlando Jordan who were doing different things. He was playing mind games. It was great. I actually enjoyed that. I enjoyed Exotic Adrian Street. I enjoyed Billy and Chuck.
Goldust.
I thought
even Goldust.
They had good storylines.
Yeah, and Goldust.
They're entertaining.
Well, yeah, and when Goldust first came in, he had that type of gimmick, but there was more to Goldust.
Yes, exactly. It's not just, hey, here I am. Like, we need more than that. We need to see promos. We need to see, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm not digging Sonny Kiss, and he's just, I feel like he's a bad representation of what he's trying to accomplish. That's what I feel.
Fair
and
enough.
Disagree with me all you want. That's fine. We all don't have to agree with each other on what could be, a good flamboyant character. I just think he's. It's just like, okay, you can twerk. What else are you going to bring to the table? You know what I mean? Like, what I just don't get, like, even like, okay, Lucha Underground, you watch Pimpinela, right?
Yeah, Pimpinela, yes.
Yeah, yeah, whatever. I had the Spanish version.
Okay.
Like, okay, similar thing. Like, people got a laugh out of that, right?
Yes.
I mean, another flamboyant wrestler. But you know what I mean? There seemed to be, with those characters, it's like I need storylines, and that's one thing, in wrestling in general. I like to see. I want to see a backstory. I want to see more promos. I want to see more pre-tapes, backstage. It's just like we're not getting that enough. You know what I mean? So we can all have athletic matches. We could all have the 20-minute match, and we can all make the wrestling the people who are just going to watch anyway. We need more pre-tapes. That's how you're going to get the casual fan, and that's one of my concerns with Impact, with their short segments. I think they could make more segments in their show, and I think that'd be great because you're hooked more that way. So, but anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. Anyways, yeah, I'm not a fan of Sonny Kiss. That's really all I have to say.
All right, well, that's pretty much it, man. We pretty much hit and nailed everything from the weekend, crazy week that was wrestling from AEW. WWE to Impact Wrestling to whole nine, man. We pretty much nailed it.
Yes, we did. So, yeah, I really got nothing. I enjoyed Impact. I thought it was a great gauntlet match, though. I really enjoyed it. Rich Swann, that was just, I thought the storytelling just in the match itself there was on point for Rich Swann.
Agreed. So Rich Swann, MVP of the week.
Do we have any matches for next week's Impact? I mean, is Ken Shamrock Wrestling?
I didn't see anything, so I mean, we'll see what happens next week, but it's gonna be good regardless.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. All right, well, that'll do it for the HeelCast this week. For Lark Nasty, Lark, and the Funky Bunch, for Hurls, we'll see you next week.
Peace. Tupacalypse now, don't stop for hoes. Hurls just wants to get around. Everybody's getting around. Alicia Toot, how you doing? You get around. You know. We're out.